have a 6-year-old, and she's a touch dramatic, would you say?
Yes.
Didn't even have to think about that. All right.
No. Yes. Yeah, she's dramatic. She gets that from you.
Uh-huh. All right, so she's a touch dramatic. She sometimes throws tantrums, like 6-year-olds do. But this Saturday was a big one. It was a big one. And it started off small, all right? I was in the other room. She's in her bedroom, and I hear a little clatter, like something falls, and then I start hearing the mumbling. And I sneak to the door because I don't want to go in and get in the middle of the chaos. I just want to, observe it from the other room. I sneak to the door, and I hear I can't find this piece, and it's going to be missing forever, and I'm never going to find it, and it's gone, and I'm never going to be able to put this together. It's my favorite. Going on, and I'm going, okay, at what point do I need to interrupt to try to get her back on track? All right, I'm doing it. I open the door. She's sitting there on the floor with pieces everywhere.
Pieces of what?
Pieces of Legos.
Oh, well, Legos, there's like a million of those.
There's a million pieces. So, and it's those teeny tiny little Legos. Thank you, Mother, for buying that for her. Those teeny tiny little Legos. And of course, it's the one integral piece, the piece that just is the most important. I don't actually know if that's true, but to her, it sure was.
To her, yes. It will not work without that piece.
Awful. It's gone. It has disappeared into the ether.
The borrowers took it. It's gone. I try to use logic reasoning with a 6-year-old. Yes, I see my own flaw in logic there. I try to explain to her that things don't actually just disappear. It's got to be there somewhere. And if she would calm down, we could find it. But she can't. She's getting worse and worse. Finally, I get up and leave the room because I don't think I'm making this any better. Sometimes I sort of rub her the wrong way. She just needs a moment. I leave. All of a sudden, I start hearing things fall again. But this is clearly her throwing things. So I open the door. She is standing on her bed with stuffies in her hands, launching them one at a time across the room. What does stuffies ever do to her?
I know.
It's not their fault she lost the piece. That is such BS. Sorry.
She's launching them across the room. I, of course, am not happy with this. I tell her to get her butt down immediately off the bed, stop throwing things, to which she starts to stomp at me and do the grunting,
Yes, I know that very well.
Ooh.
I know.
You know, I want to kill it when it happens. When it does that.
You gotta detach yourself.
I get real mad.
Get out the room quickly.
So she's doing the stomping thing. And I realize I might actually have to beat this child if I stay in this room any longer. So I leave again. She not only slams the door behind me, but starts beating on the door, and I lost it. I saw red. I push the door open, which was a feat because she had her full weight on the door. Push the door open, grab her by both of her shoulders.
And I could see her face. She's probably laughing, but doing that. I'm trying not to find this funny, but to me, this is kind of funny because I got mom upset thing.
Right. She's
which makes you so pissed off.
Right. She's so mad that she doesn't even... it was absurd. I'm looking at her square in the face, and I said, "You are acting like an animal. And if you're going to act like an animal, you can go live where the animals live." And so I start marching her to the back door. I'm going to throw her in the backyard because that's where the animals live. And I do. I open the door, I look outside, and I look at her and was like, "This is where you live now. You live outside with the animals. And you know what? If you decide you want to be a human again, you can sit your butt down at that table and show me that you can be a human. And when you show me that, then I will let you come back inside where the humans live." And I shove her out the door, slam the door, and lock it.
And meanwhile, I'm not home, so I'm just getting these videos from you. I think I was in New York. And there's videos of, look what our daughter is doing. And she is sitting in the backyard on the floor just screaming.
Kicking, flailing.
In the backyard. And mind you, we were surrounded by 7 different houses with all these neighbors in earshot. Yeah, it was a real pretty picture.
Right. She's screaming bloody murder. And I am steadily just waiting for Child Protective Services to come banging on the front door because I'm sure our neighbors think that this is an abusive situation. Child screaming. I mean, she's taking off her shoes, throwing them across the yard. She's picking up dog toys. I mean, it was out of control. She was an animal.
And I just walk away. I walk into the other room, again, waiting for CPS to show up, and it starts to get quieter and quieter, and then it's totally quiet. So I come back, look out the back door, and she's sitting at the table like a human being.
Imagine that.
I'm so astounded by the fact that my craziness has somehow worked. I actually kind of thought it might be a trick.
She's not that smart.
Give her another year or two. I opened the door and said, "Would you like to come in now?" And she nodded yes. She came in. She sat at the kitchen table. And she said she was sorry.
Success!
Yeah.
It's like victory is mine.
So then, because she says she's sorry, that like cold wall I've built up around my heart, the wall of like frustration and anxiety and pure anger at your child for being such a monster, of course melts away, and then the guilt starts seeping in. It's creeping in, and I'm like on the verge of tears because I have just thrown my child in the backyard like an animal. And I get on the phone with my girlfriend and I just say, "I have the craziest story to tell you. Please don't judge me." I'm Lene.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is Bourbon and Babies. Welcome, everybody. This is the first full episode of Bourbon and Babies.
Yay! We did it! We're podcasters now.
Look at that.
I know. I never thought I'd be able to say that sentence.
So every week on Bourbon and Babies podcast, we will be drinking a different bourbon cocktail.
I can't wait to record.
Right? This is your treat.
This is my incentive. See, this actually hooked me in. She's like, each week we get to drink a different bourbon cocktail, and I'm like, okay.
I'm there. I'm
there. Totally. So, hearing you tell that story, I don't know if I've ever been more in love with you.
Aww.
I know. When you, I saw how well you handled our completely insane daughter, in a way that I never could, because I don't show flame the way you do.
Show flame?
Show flame. It exudes from you. I was astounded, but in a good way, because I know I would have just had to leave the house and leave her inside and hope she survived for 3 days and can feed herself.
You've actually said that to me once before. You said, "I've never been so in love with you as I am right now." And
so I'm repetitive.
It was on the plane.
Oh, yeah. No, okay. So I guess I'm most in love with you when you're handling insane children.
Oh.
Is, I guess, the trend I'm seeing here. So we're on a plane. We're coming back from California. And our son, who is minus 1 year old, does not sit still for a second, right? He's like the busiest child in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, he's all over the place. So we'll hold him for a few seconds. He's trying to crawl over our shoulder to the people behind us, playing peekaboo forever. He's just a nightmare. And
no matter how tired he is still busy.
Yes.
He cannot be still. In fact, the only way we can ever get him to go to sleep is by putting him in a room by himself, usually in a crib or some other sort of baby cage type contraption.
Which is the opposite of an airplane.
But the opposite of an airplane, yeah.
Right.
And when you don't have a seat to strap him into, he thinks it's playtime, even though he's exhausted.
Right. So he's just busy, and we could each, pass him back and forth the entire flight for 5-minute increments, which gets real tiring. But we can see he's getting tired. So he's just starting to lose it, and he starts doing the crying, and you know how anxious you get when people start hearing babies cry on the plane, and it's your baby, you're just freaking out, everyone is so pissed off at you. And I'm trying to calm him down to zero success. And the magic touch lies within you as you become like the human swaddle, and you enwrap this child and you pin him down with your arms.
I was
and
about
you're
to say, enwrap is a really nice way to say it. I basically took a jacket, I straight jacketed the kid and held him down until he fell asleep.
Right. But like, he was not happy. It was probably like a good 3 minutes of him still crying in that position, where I'm like thinking, okay, is she hurting him? Is he gonna like survive this threshold of Linnaeus, or what's gonna happen? But slowly his eyes start to like roll to the back of his head, And he's
You're like, I've either smothered him to death.
he's not dying, but he is falling asleep, which is awesome. And as soon as he passed out, you're right, I turned to you, I was like, I have never been more in love with you than I am at this moment, because not only did my anxiety level drop down because he's no longer screaming and I'm no longer worried that everyone is PO'd at us, but, you know, it was like magic.
It was magic, man. Sometimes you just have to hold people down until they... No, that's not what I meant to say.
I mean, that's how you won me over.
That is how I won you over.
Yeah.
Well, evidently that's how I win boys over, because I got that boy to bed.
Speaking of getting boys to bed, Lene, what are we drinking tonight?
We are drinking bourbon and ginger beer. That is the Price
House staple. We always have the ginger beer in the fridge. We always have the bourbon on the shelf. Technically, I think it's called a Kentucky Mule.
That's right. Much like the Moscow Mule, which
Except-
is vodka
Right.
and ginger beer. This is bourbon and ginger beer, because we are in Kentucky and this is bourbon country.
That's right. And if you happen to have a fresh lime in the house, take a nice little slice, squirt that into your Kentucky Mule. It has a nice little citrus zest. It's delicious.
It is delicious, and we are enjoying one right now. Part of the reason why we have cocktails while we sit and tell these stories with our children sleeping peacefully upstairs is because being a parent comes with a lot of judgment. Am I right?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Everywhere I look, I feel a little judged. And, you know, I had it coming. Because honestly, I used to judge pretty significantly before I had kids. I mean, I would see 3-year-olds with pacifiers and think like, those kids' teeth are going to be so jacked up. They shouldn't have a pacifier at 3. I would see kids at restaurants with iPads, kids with crazy hair.
have you seen our daughter's hair?
I know.
I know. She looks like a troll doll half the time.
And
It's
then
insane.
like public temper tantrums. Oh man, that used to make me crazy. I would think they need to learn to control their kid. I would never have that. I would beat that kid's. You know what I mean?
Oh, if only we could talk to the younger versions of ourselves.
Oh, now I hate me for that. I hate me for it because I was such a jerk. And now when things like this happen, I look at other people and I think, I hope this person has kids so that one day they can look back on this and
give us some
bad.
grace.
Right. Give us a little
Yes.
grace.
Give us a
Because
little
our
grace.
kid has had her fair share of public temper tantrums.
Yeah.
Remember when she was 3? She had the craziest temper tantrum in the lobby of the community center. Jordan and I are there. She's laid out on the floor, losing her ever-loving mind. We literally had to take he had her arms, I had her legs. We are like walking her out of the JCC. We're trying to plug her into the car. And she's flailing like crazy. We literally had to force her into the car seat, hold her down to get her strapped in. And the whole time I'm thinking, why has no one stopped us?
Right?
Why is no one accusing us of
You
kidnapping?
see 2 full-grown adults who are forcing a child into a vehicle, strapping them into a car. I mean, maybe the car seat. That's got to be the only saving thing. Like, they saw the car seat, they assumed
I'm gonna go
that
with
must
yes.
be the parents.
I'm gonna go
Like,
with yes.
You know, if we had not had the car seat, we would have been in jail. Right? We could hope that's the truth. Right?
Kidnapping is not funny, but seriously.
But like, it's crazy, you know, people, they assume, oh, that must be the parents. But I don't know, I feel like if I saw that now, I would just assume that's the parents.
Totally.
Because so many people, you know.
I can't imagine how many kidnappings I've witnessed now. I look back on all of those parents I was judging, and they might have just been kidnappers.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
That'd be awful.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
I mean, no one stopped us for kidnapping, and I swear before having kids, I would have cared so much about what other people were thinking of us in that moment. But since having kids, I've kind of lowered my standards. Haven't you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, now when I see people making faces at me, I
just don't give a shit.
Right. I mean, maybe I do. If I'm being honest, in my heart of heart, like, I think I do still kind of care, but
You don't
it doesn't change the way that I have to behave or what I have to do, because I realize that I'm in survival mode, Like, I am just trying to get through the day.
But I got all this to deal with. I can't deal with that too.
Right. Oh, like, okay, here's a great story. One of our dear friends who is part of the Bourbon and Babies community, she was also in survival mode. Her husband travels a lot for work, and so she single mommed it a lot. And her son and daughter needed to go back to school shopping, and her son wanted none of it. They had been going all day. They had one last stop to go in. So she leaves her 10-year-old son in the car with his DS.
Windows rolled down so he can breathe. Like a dog, you gotta leave the window slightly down.
Right. So he's 10. She goes in, she comes out, and there's this woman standing next to the car who is losing her mind.
Just livid
Over the fact that our friend has left her 10-year-old son in the car. She's going on and on and on. And her son
call the police.
Finally is so perplexed. He literally opens the door by himself and said, "Lady, I'm not a baby. I could have just opened the door myself at any time."
People are insane, I swear. Yes, if he was a baby, that makes sense. But people are so judgmental, and people think they know what's best. We got to do a whole episode on that. Just, I know what's best, right?
All right. Here's the thing. We would never suggest that people leave their kids locked in cars. I get that. This was a 10-year-old kid, though. We all just need to take a step back and take a breath, all right? We are all so wrapped up in our own judgment and jumping to conclusions, and we've all just lost the ability to assume positive intent in others, right? We're not giving each other any grace.
There's got to be a reason that this kid is in the car. He's 10 years old.
Right.
There's got to be reasons that this kid's hair is completely out of control. There's got to be reasons that this kid is in front of an iPad at a restaurant.
Right, and the reasons probably aren't that all of these parents are terrible parents.
Some
might be, but you don't know. So to jump to conclusions and judge people in such a harsh way is just totally unfair. You know what we could do instead? What we should be doing instead is what happened to my sister in Target the other day.
Good, yes.
My sister's a stay-at-home mom, and she decides to get out of the house. She needs to run to Target to pick up some tea bags. She sees the Starbucks line and decides to treat herself. She gets her coffee. Her son grabs it. He's a year and a half. By accident, knocks it out of her hand all over the floor. She's so frustrated. She decides, screw it. I'm just going to get the tea bags and get the hell out of here. So she gets the tea. He takes the tea. He starts ripping the tea bags open. She takes it away. He starts acting a fool, loses his passy. She can't find it anywhere. So she grabs passies off the rack. She goes through the checkout. She's on the verge of tears at this point, just trying to keep it all together because all she wanted was to get out of the house and to enjoy a nice coffee.
Delicious Starbucks.
Yes. And here it is. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. And so finally she, on the verge of tears, decides she's going back through the Starbucks line because come hell or high water, she's not leaving this Target without an iced coffee. And this sweet stranger comes up to her and gives her a Starbucks gift card. She had seen the whole thing. And she said, "You look like you're having a rough day. Being a mom's hard. And I got this for you so that you can get yourself another coffee."
See, that is the way to handle the situation.
Right.
Why pass judgment? Make someone's day better.
Yeah, ask how you can help. Ask, oh my gosh, I'll never forget getting on the plane one time you weren't with me. I had the two kids. I was trying to get through security and all these other things. And this lady just said, "Do you want me to hold your baby while you put the stroller back together?"
Wait, you gave our baby to a stranger?
I did. And it was so glorious.
I'm so glad that the baby's still here.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just those little things, that little like olive branch that someone can extend to you to help you in your moment of pain. Let's be those people. Okay. Buy everyone you know a Starbucks gift. No, I'm just kidding.
Buy us Starbucks gift cards. No. Send them to the following. Sorry, I won't give our address on the podcast. But yes, try to help. Don't judge.
Right. Ask how you can help. Be a good Samaritan. Be a good fellow parent or non-parent. Give each other some grace. The world will be such a better place if we can do this.
And drink some bourbon.
And speaking of bourbon,
we have our next episode coming up in hopefully another week.
Right.
And our topic is, did you just drop the F-bomb?
That's right. I didn't just drop the F-bomb, but sometimes our kids do just drop the
F-bomb. You do drop the F-bomb a lot, babe.
I do drop the F-bomb.
Yeah, you do. But luckily, you haven't influenced our children, too. I think other people have done that for us.
Right.
But if you have a great story of a time that you have either influenced your loving little angel to say some things that maybe they shouldn't have, or you've been surprised at things that have come out of their mouth, please share those with us. And how could they do that, Lene?
If you're a Facebooker, find us on Facebook at Bourbon and Babies Podcast, Or find us on Instagram at Bourbon and Babies Podcast. We want to hear your stories, share your pictures, join in the conversation.
And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so, and feel free to rate us unless you hate us.
This whole episode's about judgment, so go easy.
Be fair, please.
Episode 1, people. We look forward to seeing you next week.
And enjoy that bourbon.